morning, Abraham.
It is a good morning.
Always a pleasure. I guess I'm pleased to report that all hell's breaking loose as I continue to incorporate your teachings into my life.
Good. That means you've got energy moving.
It
That
certainly
means
does.
you have deliberately activated desire within yourself that is summoning. And you've focused upon it enough that you've really got it summoned. So that old beliefs and habits of thought that have been hindering these desires all along are now sticking out in more obvious fashion.
Yes. Two of your processes that I have been working with, particularly the prosperity game
Yes?
and the virtual reality.
Yes?
And I've heard you in many of your tapes, lectures, workshops, explaining them from different perspectives.
Yes.
Which I certainly appreciate. I still find myself sometimes feeling like I'm in a box. I get stuck. Give you an example. With the prosperity game, it was enlightening for me to realize that it was actually about expanding one's imagination. And still, I get up to a certain amount of money and I say, how do I flow this much money? And I've even shared the game with friends, maybe by way of email or conversation. How would you spend $87,000 if you had it today? And they come back with such detail. And I said, well, maybe I don't know what I want, or maybe I'm not wanting strongly enough. And carrying over into the virtual reality, when it comes to setting up a scenario, your explanation of being like the director in a movie was very clarifying to me in terms of constructing a virtual reality. But still, I find it difficult often to construct a scene that makes me feel so good that I feel the virtual reality is being effective.
Well, the reason that we offer so many different processes is because every process that we offer has two intentions. And both of those intentions are the same intentions that your physical life experience holds. In other words, the contrast helps you to define what you want, and then you must find a way to allow that which you have identified. And so all of the games that we offer are to help you to focus your desire and to soften your resistance. It's interesting that you say all hell has broken loose, and we know the spirit in which you are saying that. In other words, you can feel that you're shaking some things up. And both of those games, the game of virtual reality and the game of the prosperity game, and we'll describe them briefly. The prosperity game says you deposit into an imaginary checkbook, and it's fun even to really use one, $1,000 on your first day. And on the second day, you deposit $2,000. And on the third day, you deposit $3,000. And each day that you deposit it, you spend it in some mental game. So that by the 300th day, you are spending $300,000. But the reason it gets a little tricky is because the day before that, you spent $299,000. And the day before that, you spent $298,000. So it really stretches your imagination. It amplifies your ability to think about what you want. The other game, the virtual reality game, is a game where you say, I'm like a director in a movie, and I'm going to set a scene in which I know I could go and have only a joyful experience. So you pick your favorite place and your favorite time of year and your favorite people, which usually in the beginning is you. And you set the scene and you play it out in some detail for about 30 seconds for the primary purpose of activating within yourself a vibration of well-being. Now, what happens when you begin playing these games is that while it does direct energy, it also makes you more aware of where your energy is already. In other words, you can't pick up a stick, a subject, without there being the end of it of what you do want and the end of it of the absence of what you do want. And so whenever you activate anything, you sort of activate it where it already is. And so these games are offered to assist you in recognizing where you are and consciously, by using the power of your mind, to move yourself into other places. We want to go back with you for just a moment to the prosperity game. When you think in terms of what you will do with $87,000, and it is an easy, thrilling feeling, then you're in alignment. if you're struggling to figure out what to do with $87,000 today in this game, then the game isn't serving you in the way that we wanted it to, and it's time to sort of step back from it just a little bit. You are, by virtue of what you've been living, offering vibrations on a pretty steady basis. You could call it your belief system. We like to call it your vibrational proclivity. Doesn't matter where you picked it up, doesn't matter where you learned it, it is what it is. And within the vibrational components that are you are vibrations or thoughts of things that you desire, which are summoning. And then these habits of vibration that you are sort of churning through every day that are the allowing factors. When your desire and your belief on any topic is in alignment, then there is this clicking into place. It's like in and out, in and out, in and out. It's like question, answer, question, answer, question, answer. It's like hunger, food, hunger, food. It's the way the universe is established in order to provide for you the joyful experience. And the emotional range that you live in any point in time is about that balance or imbalance of vibration. So a feeling of overwhelmment is doing too many games that Abraham offered that get my desire goosed up faster than my ability to believe that it can be. So I got more energy moving through me than I have belief or expectation that I can achieve it, so I am vibrationally out of balance. And the sensation in terms of energy or mood is overwhelmment. Disappointment is wanting more than I believe. Boredom is not wanting as much as I believe I can achieve. There's no right or wrong in this. In other words, there's not anything that you were ever supposed to do. There's no one that could ever say you're behind schedule or you're off track. Everything that exists in this creative endeavor and in this creative realm, everything that exists is for the singular purpose of you finding that delicious balance for you today. Sometimes people think that what creation is about is obtaining things and achieving lifestyles and achieving physical states of being. In other words, houses to live in, cars to drive, relationships, lovers to love. And while life certainly is about all of those things, it's much more about your state of being than it is any of that stuff. And we are encouraging stuff, but we are encouraging an understanding that all of the goals for the stuff, even this physical realm in which you have material things that you are shooting for, all of it exists only for the experience of having this joy in this moment. So when you start thinking in terms of, oh, so Abraham, this game is not only a game to help me have more money so that I can actually live out in a tangible way a more satisfying life. The game exists for me to discover how to find joy in the moment. And we say it is as important that you find joy in the game as it is that you find joy from the stuff that you think the game will bring you. So if it's hard to spend that $87,000, then don't spend the $87,000. The whole reason that it was set up to begin with is just to get you stimulated, to get your juices flowing, to make you realize that you have the power of imagination in a much more productive way than you think. Most people really don't imagine very much. Most people observe mostly. And your world works pretty well for you because there is so much good stuff to observe. But there is also stuff you don't want to observe too. So the reason that we started talking about games like the prosperity game and like virtual reality is because we thought that it would be of advantage to you, to all of you, to acknowledge that you can generate feeling based upon something that you're conjuring, that you are not captive to just conjuring what you're observing. We noticed that a person could be standing in a body like yours, having lived the years that you've lived, and could today be offering a vibration that was set into motion when you were 5 that has nothing to do with your now life, but you are still keeping it active because something happened and you remembered it the next day, 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 and you talked about it the next day. And so there are a lot of people that have a lot of things active in their vibration today that have no relevancy to who they now are, except that they keep it activated so it keeps being relevant because they keep attracting to it. And so the reason that we began talking about virtual reality or about the prosperity game was because we thought, wouldn't it be nice if this joy-bound being could conjure images and let them be the basis of his now point of attraction, rather than something happened so long ago that doesn't have anything to do with who he now is or where he wants to go, you see. So all of these processes are about thinking and then feeling, and then thinking and then feeling, and then thinking and then feeling. We want you to use your imagination because it's fun, and because the universe does not know if the vibration that you are emitting in any moment is in response to something that you are observing or in response to something that you are imagining. In other words, let's say a person has, and we're just using a dramatic example for drama. Let's say that a person has 2 diagnoses, physical diagnoses that are big, sort of life-threatening diagnoses. So the reality of it is, as far as tests and modern-day medicine are concerned, this person has illness and it is dramatic. So there's that vibrational option. Look at what is, offer a vibration. Look at what is, offer a vibration. Look at what is, offer a vibration. And the physical body will respond to that vibration. That same person, by using the power of imagination, could go to a virtual reality every day and discover this healthy being that romps in a strong and hearty body. And if that activation happens, only a little bit more than that activation, that body has to shift. It is law. Someone who has no money, or very little money, or not enough money, can beat that drum by talking about it, observing it, feeling around it. Or they can go to a virtual reality where they spent $87,000 today and had a 15-minute thrill in the process of conjuring it. And if they are thrilled in the virtual reality only slightly more than they are disappointed by their today living conditions, it shifts in their vibration, and it has to shift in their reality. Law of attraction says you get what you are offering vibrationally, and what you are offering vibrationally is how you feel. But when you realize that the game is for fun, we're not trying to make anything happen with the game. That's the first thing you want to say. I'm not trying to get rich from this game. Now, maybe you are. In other words, a lot of people that are playing the prosperity game are playing the prosperity game because they want to increase their prosperity. And we named it that because we want you to increase your prosperity. But we know that the way you will increase your prosperity is by increasing the outlets to which you are flowing energy. And you cannot visualize and fantasize in joy without being in the state of allowing well-being to flow. You just can't do it. And if you haven't had the personal experience of this, we know you have read about it. And we think it would be something worth sort of keeping your ears peaked about so that you can hear more evidence of it. But how often do you hear of someone who was fantastically wealthy and lost it all? And then next time you turn around, they're fantastically wealthy again. And then you think, well, most people don't do that even once in a lifetime. How did this guy do it twice? And we say, once you've tapped into that vibration of abundance and you discover how easy it is to be abundant, even though all of the riches that you've gathered may go away in a tornado, your point of attraction doesn't go away. So it comes again quickly to you. So what happens to people who play this game is people who have never had fantastic riches begin to vibrate as if they already have them, and then they begin to flow to them. The universe doesn't care if you ever had it. The universe is only responding to what you're doing now. And if you are thinking about dollars flowing in a fantastic way and you're joyful in the process, you are the candidate for receiving the abundance, you see. It has to be. Law of attraction lines you up with it. It has to be. But if you are working hard and laboriously in your conjuring so that you're not allowing in your fantasy state any more than you do in your real life state, then the game becomes a little arduous. Just be playful about it. Be very playful about it. That attitude of playfulness, if you can superimpose that over all of these games, you will discover that they will serve their purpose for you so much more because they are all games about releasing resistance.
Thank you.
Yes, indeed.